Hola! Welcome to the Two Amigas in Hollywood podcast. We are Lina Sanchez and Maria Angela Quiroga, and we live in Hollywood. Yes, in Hollywood.
We are entertainment professionals in love with this industry, and this is why, from our very own perspectives and experiences as a producer turned post-producer and a musician turned photographer, we want to help you overcome all the obstacles of living in this amazing city and uncover the glitz and grime of this iconic industry.
Imagine collaborating with some of the finest minds in the entertainment and media business, the opportunity to be part of creating blockbuster movies, captivating TV shows, working with celebrities, collaborating with commercial brands, and living in the city where everything happens.
We will explore the pros and cons of pursuing a career in LA. We will have real and eye-opening conversations about career success, mental health, inclusion, rejection, goals.
That sounds interesting.
And share some essential tips and tricks to help you navigate the Hollywood labyrinth.
Each episode will be an immersive experience, a safe space to learn, grow, and challenge the status quo and question conventional wisdom.
Let's embrace this journey together! Hola!
So welcome everybody. As you might hear on the trailer, we are very excited to have this new space that we are creating from working creators for working creators in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, we're very excited to be here and to create this space for you. And we have been living in the US for about 7 years. We both moved to this country in 2017. And we have learned a lot, and we want to share some insights into the industry, what it's like living here, and to be honest, just to have a lot of fun, because this is kind of our passion project. And yeah, we're just excited because we also have met in this time a lot of amazing people that we think can bring a lot to the community as a whole. So yeah, welcome. We're very excited.
So this is the first time that we do this, so we're going to see how is it going to end.
Yes. Okay, so for you guys to really get to know a little bit about us, for the ones that don't really know, we want to share like a snippet of our story. So, Lina, please go ahead and tell everybody who you are.
Okay, so again, I'm Lina Sanchez. I'm 32 years old. I'm from Bogota, Colombia. And I live in LA since March 2017. I'm currently working as a post-producer for Fox Entertainment. My background is actually as an audiovisual communicator and a producer. So I was telling Maria, and I think I have told this story to Maria 1,000 times, but we're gonna tell her again that my story with entertainment started when my mom took me 10 times to watch Star Wars. Yes, 10 times. The Phantom Menace, which I know there is a lot of people that they hate this movie, but I have to say it's a really good movie, and after watching that movie for 10 times, I was like totally in love with movie making.
I love that because that's one of the things we share. My dad is also a fan of Star Wars. And since I was little, I mean, we have Star Wars VHS, which makes me feel old, but whatever.
Well,
but it's just fun.
Yeah, I think also because it's a very important movie for our parents as well. It's like a very specific movie with that George Lucas created, like, I don't know, in the 70s, I think.
70s or 80s? Yeah, somewhere 80s, like that.
So I think, yeah, it was like a very interesting movie for those times, right? So I also have to share that I think I had a difficult childhood, and I think my way to connect with my feelings was actually movies. So I think every time that I was going to a movie, I was feeling really connected with my feelings, and I was able to understand what was happening to the other person, even if I didn't know that person, but I was able to connect with the situation that they were living in. So yeah, after I think that happened when I was like, I don't know, maybe 9 years old, I was pretty in love with that. And I think since that moment, I started talking about like I wanted to be, I don't know, filmmaker, director, producer. I think when you are 9 years old, you only know the role to be a director. So I think since that moment, my favorite director was Steven Spielberg. And I wanted to be a director. I think I was a little bit confused. I think I didn't tell you this before, but I think at some point I was watching my favorite show, ER, and I thought I wanted to be a doctor, which no, it was gonna be
That's
big fail.
crazy. Yeah, no. Well, my parents are doctors, and I decided to go into the arts. Funny that you said about your favorite TV show, at least medical TV show, because my favorite medical TV show is Grey's Anatomy.
Oh,
And they're very different, but
yeah.
it's just funny.
Well, yeah, one of my favorite shows, and I remember my mom's favorite show was ER.
Yeah.
So at some point, I thought I was gonna be a doctor, but things life, I decided I was not gonna be a doctor. I wanted to be a filmmaker, because I cannot even imagine my life being a doctor. But that could be another topic
Episode.
episode for the podcast. Yeah, after that, I was really in love with filmmaking. And I think when I got to 10th grade or something that I already told my mom, like, I know what I want to. So we found out that La Universidad de La Sabana had this audiovisual and communication bachelor. So in 2010, I started in Universidad de La Sabana. In 2014, I started my first job working for a small production company, working as an assistant for a producer. And then I think that was 2014. In 2015, I started working for Netflix, shooting Narcos, the show. Let's clarify that. Season 2, which was a amazing show. So, like, this show absolutely changed my life. And I also had a really big thing happening in that show. It was like I also met my husband.
And you were still in Colombia.
Oh yeah, I was living in Colombia, and my husband at that time, he was a daily supervisor, and he went to Colombia to supervise some of the dailies that we were shooting on the show.
Okay, for maybe people that are hearing don't know what are dailies. Can you explain it like very shortly, but what are dailies?
Well, basically dailies are the footage that you shoot every day.
And then people are like checking them
daily. Exactly. So then exists like this role that's called daily supervisor, which checks all the dailies, the daily footage that people shoot during the day. That happened after I did Narcos. I also did 2 more drug dealers stories, El Chapo and Loving Pablo. Loving Pablo was interesting because the main Pablo was Javier Bardem, and Virginia, don't remember her last name, was Penelope Cruz. So it was a really interesting experience. It was a very nice movie. It was also really kind of like weird because the movie was in English. So it was also kind of weird, like listening to Pablo speaking in English. I mentioned that I met my husband shooting Narcos Season 2. So since that moment in 2017, we had like a long distance relationship. And I think at the end or at the beginning of 2016, we decided that we wanted to move forward and we wanted to move in together. So we decided the best option for both of us was moving to, my husband already lived in LA, but for me to move to LA and moving together. So when I did that, I got here in March 2017, and I started studying in the New York Film Academy. I did like a intensive production workshop, and after that, I basically started my paperwork to. I married my husband, and I basically start my process is to get my paperwork as a resident. It was. I have to say, it was like a very long and complicated, like, first 1 to 2 years, and I think we're gonna talk about a lot about these things and how is the experience of getting into LA. How do you're gonna feel in the next couple 1 to 2 years? How difficult it was, but I have to say it was really hard. It was my first time living outside my home, outside my really far from my mom and my grandmother and my family. So I think the first 1 year to 2 years were really complicated, and it was like a long time to feel established and feel that I have I had like a stable life here in LA.
So that was your first time living abroad, but at the same time, your first time living outside of your home.
Yeah, I came here when I was 26, and I felt I was really young to do that. But actually, my husband, and for the American culture, I actually think 26 is old for that.
Yeah,
I
because
think,
they tend to move out around between 18 and 20, I guess.
yeah, I
So,
think Justin left his house when he was 18 or something like that.
yeah, that's crazy.
And after that, I did a workshop. Then, I started my all the paperwork to be a resident. Then at the end of 2017, I started working in a agency for DPs, for directors of photography, that was called Partos, which was also actually my first job in LA, real job was working for that agency. After that, after a couple months, I applied for a job at Disney. At that time, it was Disney Network, they were doing all the short format content for their social media. So I started working as a production assistant for this Disney division, and then I moved to production coordinator to do all this content for social media. This job was, and we're going to talk about this in our podcast too, I actually was in this transition from Disney totally destroying this division, because they were transition all this division to Disney Plus.
So you
it
were
was a
in that
big layoff.
change.
It was a big layoff.
Wow.
And I think I was in a different condition. So I think I was able to stay a little bit more than everyone else. Also because of my husband, my boss, Matt, who also helped me to stay a little bit longer with him. But it was a big layoff. I think, I don't know, maybe 150 to 200 people at the time. So
That's a lot of people, and it's also kind of strange to talk about it now that we're seeing all these layoffs and all the strikes going on. For the people hearing, we are in September 2023, and this year has been a lot on the industry. So it's a little bit strange to hear you talk about it when you were there. And again, this industry is like, it evolves constantly because technology evolves constantly and people evolve constantly. So yeah, we're just, I think it's a nonstop learning situation.
And it was my first layoff, I have to say,
Oh,
because
gosh.
I've already experienced a lot of changes in the industry already. So yeah, that was my first big experience with layoffs and big changes in the industry. That was 2018, I think July 2018.
Wow.
And after that, I finished my time on Disney, and I started working for a small production company, distribution company, that were creating YouTube content for kids. And I worked there as it was like a OTT, is over the top content coordinator / clearance. And it was almost, I don't know, a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years. I started having a really bad experience working for that company. And 2020, as we all know, it was a crazy year with the pandemic. And I actually was so tired and so frustrated working for this company that I quit in July 2020.
Right,
Um,
like 4 months after we
yeah,
were in lockdown.
yeah, no. Like now that I think about it, I maybe because I was young, I did that.
Yeah,
And now that
we
I'm
would have
thinking about
think
it,
more
I'm
about
like,
it now.
I don't know. But yeah, well, I quit and, that was it. And actually, after that, I came back as working as a freelance producer for a while. I also worked for other uh, um, a small production company. Something that I really have to mention is that I was tired of working as a producer and I did wanted to do a transition to post production. So during all this time, I was doing a lot of things to find opportunities in post production. So finally, that opportunity came at the beginning in 2020 when I started working for Evercast. Evercast is a software company that develops technology for post production and creatives and entertainment industry. So that was an amazing opportunity to learn a lot of things about post production. I was an account manager, which I also was in the business part, but also really involved with the development of the software. And that's why I learned a lot about post production, and I think that was my entrance to post production world. And then I needed to find like another opportunity, so I applied to Fox Entertainment to be a post producer. Because even if I like it so much to work on Eric as an account manager, I was feeling I was not really close to the content. Well, I got the job, and that's what's happening now. I'm a post producer for the marketing team, doing trailers and promos for Fox Entertainment. And
For the TV side of
for the
Fox.
TV side of
Yep.
Fox, correct. And yeah, a couple more things about me. I was also a so there is something that I think a lot of people doesn't know, but there is a organization that's called Hollywood Professional Association. I think Hollywood Professional Association has been in the business for, I don't know, like something like 28 years. And they have a program that's called Young Entertainment Professionals. I was a part of their program, which the program helps people that are new in the entertainment business to develop their careers and to have mentors. Well, I was a co-chair. I was a chair and co-chair and mentor, mentee. Like I did the whole spectrum there. And for over 4 years, so I was the co-chair. So it was an amazing experience. I'm also a co-chair of the Networking, Entertainment, and Technology program, which we offer these specific like events, roundtable events, when you are able to discuss about different topics about the industry and also the opportunity to learn about new things and do a lot of networking.
The NET
That's
program is also part of the HPA. So both are
correct.
two initiatives part of the HPA.
So yeah, for me it's been already like 6 years working with the Hollywood Professional Association. And just more things about me that we have talked before, things that we love and we want to share about us. So, of course, one of my favorite things to do is like watching movies, of course. I think my second favorite thing to do is travel, for sure. I love it. Well, this is something new, but I really I finally connected with an exercise that I really like to do. So nowadays I can say I really like to do exercise. So those are the things that I love now. I love going to concerts. I consider myself a concert addict for sure. And I have to say, like, Maria and my husband doesn't help with that because because every time that we want to go to a concert, everyone says yes. So
Yeah, our budget is not happy when we. I think last year actually was the year that, right after the pandemic, we were most active in a lot of
a lot of
concerts, and a
concerts.
lot of concerts were amazing last year.
Yes. And I think we also can talk about concerts and how that works in LA in future episodes. I'm also a foodie. I love food and I love to try new foods all the time. And to be honest, I love all kind of activities in entertainment. So I love concert, movies, shows, theater, like everything about entertainment. I love it. I have to say, like, I really like to spend time with my husband, so it's something that I want to share. And cats. I love cats. I have a cat. My cat's name is Cassini, and I love
he's
him.
the best
and
cat ever.
He's my baby, my baby, my baby that I love. And yeah, well, that's a little bit about me. So tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, so I am Maria Angela Quiroga, or Maria. In the US, I call myself only Maria because my name is quite long for people to honestly to spell it. It's a whole thing. So Maria, and I am 30 years old. I'm from Bogota, Colombia, and I have been living in the US since January 2017. I first moved to New York in the middle of winter, which I love. And then later that year, I moved to LA. Okay, so I am a photographer with a background in music. So I started music classes when I was around 4 years old, swimming lessons, everything. And I just kept going through middle school. I stopped for a bit, but then in high school, I went back to like after school music lessons. And it was a pretty hardcore program. Like, I was going to high school from like 7 a.m. to 3. And then from 4 to 8 p.m., I was going to music school mostly every day of the week. So I was getting training classical piano performance and everything that goes along with it, like music theory, how to read music, how to listen, and like band and choir and all of these like different kind of subjects and parts of the music training. And from that school, I got a lot of amazing friends, which I love. So it's safe to say that from high school, I also have a bunch of amazing friends. I'm a person with very long-lasting relationships. And yeah, I just love my friends. I can count them twice with my hand, let's say. I don't know how to say it, but yes.
I can verify that.
Yeah. Then I was so serious with music in high school that I decided to go to college to study music and like piano performance, classical training. So I got in La Nacho, which is the Universidad Nacional de Colombia, in English, the National University of Colombia, which, to be honest, I don't know. It's really hard to get into that program. There's like 5 exams that you need to pass. And I was just doing it because everyone was at the music academy I was. Before, everybody was like, oh, it's so hard to get in. And I was like, oh, let's try it, whatever. And then I actually got in, which was kind of crazy.
And sorry, we have to say, like, this university is one of the best universities in the country. So
yeah, it's one of the best ones, and it's also a public one, which was great. Then when I was in college, when you're a musician, you kind of do all kinds of gigs at the same time. So I was touring with an orchestra. I was lucky enough to get accepted into the FJC, the Filarmónica Joven de Colombia, in English, the Youth Philharmonic of Colombia. And it was just an amazing experience. I learned so much. By that time, I was realizing I didn't like to be a soloist, like a pianist soloist.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was very nerve-wracking and I was getting kind of a lot of anxiety that probably I didn't voice it at the time, but I was starting to realize that, and just being part of ensembles and being a collaborative pianist with different other singers and performers and being part of the orchestra really made me super happy. So that was great. We got to tour around Colombia. I got to meet a lot of different people from different cities in Colombia, which I was shocked because honestly, the level, like the talent in the country is crazy, like insane. So yeah, that was really fun. And while I was touring with the orchestra, I always got my little camera. My parents both kind of always kind of putting me to do different hobbies and like go hike, go do like different things in nature, but at the same time try different things. So one of the things was photography, and I was taking my little camera during the tours. I was photographing the rehearsals, doing some portraits of the staff, the faculty, just to have fun, honestly. And then the orchestra really liked the photos, and then everybody started posting them. And then for the next tours, they actually hired me, which was kind of life changing, honestly, because I didn't know you could charge for photography. But it was great. That experience really changed my life. And then I continued in college, like really focused in piano performance, but at the same time, I was getting a lot more into photo and video. And there was kind of a void in the conservatory because as a musician, you have to hear yourself how people hear you, like outside. It's very different to hear yourself playing and then see and hear the recording after. And there was no one doing that. So an ex-friend of mine
Oh my god.
and well, she knew a little bit of
What happened with the long-lasting relationships?
Well, there's a couple that, let's leave it in the past.
We are humans. Those things happen.
Yeah, whatever. Coming back to it, we actually did a good team for a while. It didn't work in the long term, but for a while we were a good team. She was doing the sound of the recordings, and I was doing all the video and photo. So that kind of was really nice because we got to shoot like, I don't know, 50 recitals and graduation concerts, and and I was editing, and then, well, it became a whole thing. So I was spending a lot of time doing photo and video, and then a lot of time doing like piano and teaching. I was a piano teacher since I was like 16 years old. Freelance piano teacher for little kids. But as soon as I graduated college, I got a job as a professor in a university, teaching piano, and it was great. I loved it. And I love teaching. But also it was a lot because I got to the point that I was doing too much and I couldn't have the time to actually rehearse piano. But this time I had moved out of my house. I was living by myself with my dog, which...
How old you were when you were living
I was
by your
like
own?
24 or 25. So I lived by myself for a year. But during that year, I decided I wanted to move out of the country and actually change my life. I wanted to change my life. I realized I was in a very toxic relationship at that time, so I wanted to get out of it. And honestly, one of the best things to heal is to move
really
abroad.
far.
Yeah. Move far away from everybody.
Move far away from that relationship.
So I get accepted into a master's at New York Film Academy. It was amazing because the first year was in New York, the second year was in LA. So I got to New York, and right away we clicked with all the students that were there. I still have friends from that time, and I love them. And it was people from all over, like Ukraine, China, the U.S., but with Latino heritage. There was another Colombia, which is he's a friend of mine as well, and his wife. I love her. And it was just very fun. After New York, I moved to LA, finished the master's, and started working at a photo studio. It was mostly like a portrait/family photo studio, which, to be honest, it wasn't what I went to school for, because I loved more like fashion, editorial, commercial, and like music photography. But this studio really taught me a lot about customer service, about a different side of photography. So it opened my mind to something that I wasn't really aware of at the time, and thinking about it, it was great. Like, I think I wouldn't have my communication skills in English and my...
If it wasn't for that.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the customer service kind of aspect of that job, and kind of nurturing all the vendors relationships I had to do, because I had to place orders for the labs, and like, fixing all kind of stuff, because I was retouching. But that was kind of a role, like a 17 hats job, because I was assisting, retouching, customer service,
Everything.
the phone, the coffee, I don't know, everything. But it was great, and I think I learned a lot, and it made me a little bit of who I am today as well. So the same as Lina, I also volunteer at the YEP committee, the Young Entertainment Professionals from the HPA. I have been doing that for 2 years, and the year before I got into the committee, I was actually a YEP. I've been learning even more since being at the committee.
Yeah.
And it's been great.
Because you can be close to what's going on.
So I love movies so much that I want to be more involved in the film industry. Photography sometimes is very separate from the film industry, and I love that through here I can meet a lot of people and even just learn a lot about all the different roles and people that make up this industry.
Mm-hmm.
I am also part of the board in Somos Capaces, which is an organization in my home country, Colombia, that focuses on education for peace. And the organization does a lot of things that are amazing for people that don't have the same opportunities as us.
We will have another episode where Maria can talk about all the things that they do, because it really is impressive what they do.
It's impressive. Yeah. And at the moment, it's an all-female operations team.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I love in volunteering. So to tell you a little bit of the things I love is to travel. I love to travel. I love going to the movies and watching a whole bunch of different films. I probably go to the movies once or twice a week. I am a foodie as well, and is one of our favorite.
Just eat.
Yeah, just eat. It's one of our favorite things to do with Lina, Justin, her husband, and Santi, my boyfriend. And I also spend a lot of time watching interior design videos and tiny houses videos, kind of obsessed about it. I love to read. I have a goal this year of reading 30 books, which I'm a little bit behind, but we'll see how it ends. I love to go to concerts, of course, because I was a musician, and I just love all kinds of music. Honestly, and in this city, there's so many concerts going on all the time. You can be at a pop concert, and then there's a rock indie concert, and then there's the LA Phil and the opera doing a whole ton of different concerts. It's amazing. And I'm a dog person, so that's one of the things that is not actually the same as Lina.
Well, we love animals.
Yeah, we love animals, but I'm more of a dog person, not a cat person. But I'm gonna say Cassini is the best cat ever. He's like a dog. That's why I like him. So yeah, so that's a little bit of who we are, and we're just very excited to bring you guys along with us in this journey. Again, we have not done this before, but we're very excited to learn and to talk to a whole ton of different people that we have lined up for you that are incredible, and to have these fun conversations. So please, give us feedback, send us an email, shoot us a comment on social media. And yeah, just be very active and tell us what you want to hear as well, because we do have a long list of ideas, but we never know. Like, you can also have great ideas. So thank you for listening. Lina, do you want to say something else?
I think it's important to mention that we wanted to create this podcast to have a safe space to talk about these things. We want to share all our experiences, our feelings, our thoughts, our insights about how is living in LA, how is our experiences in the entertainment industry. And I hope our experiences can help everybody in this process. And for all the people that just arrived in LA, I hope this podcast work as a, again, safe place for you. And we will give you tools. We will give you a lot of ideas, advices to teach you how to navigate this crazy but an amazing industry.
Thanks for listening, and see you on the second episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Two Amigas in Hollywood podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube, where you can find Spanish subtitled episodes. You can also check us out on TikTok and Instagram. Special thanks to Justin Potter for general tech support and translations, Paula Fajardo for cover art design, Daniel Gonzalez for the original music, as well as trailer sound design and editing, and Juliana Henao for audio consulting. See you on the next one.